when you're on stage, you're very funny. So that's an advantage
Yes,
for a comedian.
It definitely helps.
Did you guys have fun tonight?
He's Hungarian, he's South African, he's my best friend. Please give it up for Mr. Tamas. Vamos!
Yeah. So what's the secret behind your craziness? Where do you find your inspiration?
My inspiration for the craziness?
Yeah, for the craziness, for the stories you tell on stage. Is everyone under surveillance from a comedian like you? Or when you're in the bus and you don't know it, maybe the next guy is a comedian or something and he writes down everything you do, everything you say. Are you watching people exactly?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not really that I find my inspiration to do comedy or where my inspiration for comedy comes from. It's more like I always was the big mouth kid, you know?
Okay.
In school I always got into trouble until I did my matura. I think I went to 5 schools, elementary and high schools, just because I had to change all the time. And I wasn't a bad kid.
But they kicked you out of different schools. Okay.
And I wasn't like a bad kid. I wasn't doing drugs or alcohol I wasn't getting into fights.
Okay, yeah.
I was a very, very big-mouthed kid. I was like a smart ass, you know? Like I'd comment on the teacher stuff and he would try to shut me up, but he couldn't because I had a better comeback.
Yeah.
And it would be very aggravating to them. And that would be the biggest reason. Like
They kicked you out of school just because you were an annoyance. Okay.
multiple times, yeah.
Did you learn something from that? No.
Yeah, I learned that it's not always that you have to find an inspiration to do something, but just find your own lane. You know, and that's why like I don't have to gather inspiration to do comedy. Like I was always the loud-mouthed kid with the jokes, and I found comedy so that I can be myself in that lane.
Yeah.
Like I don't go like, how do I, whatever. It's like, no, I love doing this. And people were telling me as a kid, like as a kid in school, like, hey, why don't you do this stand-up thing? Because in Hungary at the time, there was a Hungarian stand-up show. He said, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? I was like, are you crazy? Come on, I'm just messing around. But then I moved here. I was a dishwashing boy for 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, maybe I should try comedy. It's not...
Are you a natural talent?
I'd like to think so. Yes. Like
Okay.
I think I can tell from a situation thing immediately if that would work on stage or not.
Okay.
You know, because if something happens and somebody goes, hey, you should put that on stage, and I was like, I can't put that on stage because I need so much exposition for this to work. I was like, oh, hey guys, let me tell you a story about when I was sitting with Manuel in the cafe and he was wearing a black t-shirt, but he was wearing this black t-shirt because the other t-shirt actually had something and the microphone on the table was, and it's just so much that it gets lost in the details.
Yeah, you get lost in the detail. And how do you translate stories, or do you have to translate the stories, or are you just telling them by nature in this manner? No.
Kind of. I have all the artistic freedom. I just take notes. Like if something funny happens that I want to work on stage, I just make a very idiot-proof note.
Okay.
Like my notes would look like, with Manuel at Gundy's, he said this, the waiter did this, and then I made this comment and we all laughed, just so I remember and I know what happened. And when I'm writing jokes, I'll look at my notes and I'll take 10, 15 of these and put them together and try to make one story out of all of those little situational things. And it doesn't have to be true. I have all the freedom in the world.
Have you had any problems by telling stories on stage that are too private?
Oh, that are too private?
Too private. And maybe some of the friends are in the audience and they hear the conversation of last week right on stage there. Is it difficult to cope with that?
That happened before a lot.
Okay.
Like I had friends who came to my show and I would start a story and the audience is listening except for 3 people who are already laughing very loud because they know where this is going. It's like, I can't believe you're telling that, you asshole, how dare you?
Yeah, it was private.
Yeah.
We were on vacation.
Not
we
even
were all
if it
naked.
was private, but they're laughing because, then it's not the same story anymore because I color it out. And if you say something funny now and I want to put it on stage, like in a situation, the story you'll hear on stage is a lot more funny than what actually happened. Because now I'm putting all this other stuff in.
Oh, we're getting our breakfast now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, this looks amazing.
Sweet potato eggs. For the viewer, we just leave it to the imagination.
Yeah. Haha. Unlucky people, it looks really good. Really good.
Well, we can show it. I have a muesli.
I have something so much higher level than that.
And now it's
Look
going
at
to
this.
fall down. Oh yeah. It looks great.
Ooh, and I also have a pita, but you guys can imagine that. That's
So when you're traveling around the world, do all jokes work the same? You were in Berlin.
I've pretty much been to every EU country. Almost every EU country where English comedy is kind of a thing. I've been to Georgia, which was probably one of the more exciting ones.
Okay.
Tbilisi, which was absolutely fantastic. And they don't work the same. For example, I have a lot of Vienna jokes, where if I'm selling it in Vienna, I can say, at Roymannplatz.
Okay.
That doesn't work anywhere else.
Yeah,
So
of course.
you'll just have to generalize, like, in Vienna, the bad district.
Okay.
And I can just make fun of it that, like, there's a bad district in Vienna, which is still completely fine. It's not dangerous as you would imagine anywhere else. What I didn't think was when I was in Georgia, I was saying, like, in Vienna you can go in any district, any time of the day, and you'll be completely safe. And usually when I say this in Vienna, there's some people go like, no, this is not true. But in Georgia, in Tbilisi, they just said, yeah, that's the same here. And I was like, are you crazy? Because, I would never imagine. I thought you guys have worse districts or sketchy areas. They said, dude, we had 2 wars in less than 20 years. Nobody wants stress. Nobody wants to fight. So that's I think the best part of it is that I go around the world, or Europe mostly at the time, or Austria, and I get to tell jokes and then just hang out with the people after the show. Like when we met in Salzburg in the club, that's my job. I do that in all the cities. I go on stage, I tell some jokes, I meet the people, have some drinks with them.
Yeah, you had some drinks with them, and you were quite socializing. Not only the comedy people, you were surrounded by women. When I asked you to do the podcast with me, how do you do that? Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
Actually, no.
No, I do not.
Why? Oh,
Whoops. Wow, that was sexy, wasn't it? This is why. This is why I don't have a girlfriend.
Okay.
No, I figure it doesn't work with the comedy life that well, because I'm traveling all the time. And I did have a girlfriend. It ended last year because, nothing shitty happened or anything of the sort. It was, she had office hours and I work at a bar, 20 hours, which I don't need to do it. Although I'm very happy. If COVID never had happened, I could have quit that job before. But with COVID now, I'm very happy to have that job. But still, I'm working late shifts there, or I'm traveling around the world, and I'm not. So we never really met. And at one point, we just sat down and said, "Hey, I don't think this is making a lot of sense." And I was like, "Yeah, I agree with you."
Okay.
With her, and she was my first big love. So when we broke up, I wanted to say, I told her I don't want to have any contacts because I don't want to, see her with other guys, and she probably doesn't want to see me with trying to hit on other girls. My favorite stories are that just happen spontaneously, and you can't. I have a joke on stage where I ask somebody like, "Do you see yourself robbing someone on the street?" With a knife? Like, that takes balls, right? Like, could you ever, like, it's an audience question, or like something like, do you see yourself, could you ever do that kind of question? And usually, yeah, 99% of the time people are like, no, are you crazy? Definitely not. And there was this one guy in Poland who, without missing a beat, he said, like, I don't need knife, I have my hands.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a joke now.
It gets better every day, the food here. I like it.
Oh, fantastic. Would you like to try something? You didn't even have, sorry.
No, thank you. I didn't have the sweet potato fries because I'm not the sweet potato guy. No.
You're sweet enough.
No.
I love sweet potato. As I said, do not take all the protein shakes. I was listening to this guy who trains the superheroes, and he said, like, look at the guys in the 50s and 60s, the bodybuilders. They didn't have protein shakes, so you don't need it.
Okay. Well, they did, right?
No. He said
And they ate
magic
steak all the time, right?
brown rice, sweet potato, and chicken breast or meat. And I was like, first of all, I don't like chicken breast that much, and but I love sweet potato. Actually, I love brown rice, and I love meat.
Okay. Well,
My comedy booker friends are now always telling me I'm not allowed to go to Salzburg
why?
because I was hosting a show. I know by the day, March 11th, I was heading to Salzburg. On the train, I was checking my emails. I had a 5-country, 17-city tour booked. Sweden, all over. Second solo show, Denmark. It was spectacular. And I was still selling tickets on the way. And I went on stage and did about 20 minutes warming up the audience. I was just hosting. It wasn't really my evening that night. My solo evening, I mean. And as I was on stage, I noticed my phone going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when somebody sends you 11 messages, you're just like, ding, 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 ding. And I just, okay, that's weird. Is that a phone call? And I took the thing out and put it like on the side, and I just saw, 46 emails. We sold out. That's great. And I came off stage, and they were all refund requests because international lockdown was just announced.
Yeah, perfect.
And then 4 months later, I was heading back to Salzburg. Numbers were rising. Just in, I think this was late June, early July, numbers were going up again after everything opened up. And we just did it too. When we arrived in Salzburg, that was the time when, the first time when it went from 400 to like 890 new infected a day. And I told my friend, like, look, I'm back in Salzburg, numbers are going up. And his jaw just dropped, like, this cannot be happening. Yeah, I even made a joke about it. That first time I was here this year, international lockdown appeared. The second time, numbers started going up. The third time, numbers started going up radically. So my conclusion is, fuck Salzburg.
Yeah.
It's the one logical thing you can take away from it.
If there is one place on earth where you could really speak of having bad luck, I think it's Salzburg. When you enter the city of Salzburg, you feel the bad mood cloud. You feel the social coldness, you know?
Yeah, because
it's
they're
always
doing too well.
Yeah, it's always 2 or 3 degrees colder in Salzburg than the rest of the country and the surrounding area because of the social coldness, you know?
Nothing to do with the mountains.
No. Actually, if you can hear that I'm not farting, it's just it's the fake leather here on the stool. So sorry.
You can fart, it's okay.
Okay.
The mic doesn't pick it up.
Well, yeah. You can't have corona, but you can still fart.
Yeah.
That's the little freedom.
I have corona, so I don't smell it. Don't worry about it.
The freedom of the little people. You can still fart wherever you want.
Yeah, they can't really do anything about that, no.
I didn't fart. Did you hear that?
No.
I'm sorry, it was the stool. Did you hear that?
It's all right. Actually, you're getting so defensive about this that I'm getting skeptical about you not farting.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I've been to a festival like that where a guy came to me and was like, you want to do some acid? And I was like, no, I don't do acid. And even if I wanted to try acid, I was booked to do a comedy set at the festival. And he was like, you're the comedian, want to drop some acid? We all dropped some acid. And they actually looked very happy. Like, you know, they were like, yeah, man, it's so cool. And it looked really good. But I was like, I'm not going to try a drug for the first time before I have to go on stage for an hour.
Yeah, could be dangerous.
But then he said, no, man, I mixed it. And then he started talking to me. And I know, like, oh, this is a proper chemist. Like he knew his stuff so well, and if you'd like, we can guide you through it, and you can take 25 milligrams. But if it's the first time, we can half that, and da 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 da. And he was giving me. It was like listening to a documentary.
Okay.
He gave me all the details. Like, well, I still don't want to try acid, but you made a very good point for it.
I'd be afraid to talk about going to Mars or something in the next 5 or 10 years if I took acid and then go on stage.
Yeah, because I took magic mushrooms in Amsterdam before. And
Okay.
Those.
It was the best show ever?
No, not
Okay.
before a show.
So not before a show, okay.
There's no way I could have done that. Like, I think we were walking in circles for 2 hours, and we didn't notice that we were walking in circles. They just like always took a left turn, and it was like Amsterdam looks the same.
Okay.
And then I was, we were trying to walk home to the hostel, like we can't handle this. Oh, because we didn't know anything. We're like, yay, we're in Amsterdam, let's do mushrooms. And we bought mushrooms, and now we know that you have to do it at home in a safe space where you both feel comfortable and you can lie down and just enjoy the trip. And you don't take the full thing immediately. You start taking it bits by bits, chew it a lot, wait, and then... So we just, chew it a lot, and we took everything and started walking on the crowded Amsterdam streets, where it was full of tourists. And as we walked, I was like, dude, it's happening, it's happening, it's happening. Let's go home. And I took out the phone, and I tried to like concentrate on the maps. I was like, okay, we have to go straight. That's the church where we have to turn right. And we were walking, and I was checking my phone every 8 seconds, because I was like, we're not getting closer. We're not. It's still like, we're still straight. I was like, we're not getting closer. What's happening? It was a mess. And acid is stronger than that. So
Okay. You have to be, I think, a little bit detached from yourself to work in this environment. No normal person would go on stage in front of 1,000 people and tell jokes just to make them laugh. You know, it's not what everyone does. Yeah. You work at.
I can't do anything else.
Okay. You're like a fish in the water. Okay.
I lose track of time. And I'm having all these symptoms that are. I love it.
It's an addiction as well. Of course.
I go on stage, and a lot of times when I'm working on jokes, what I'll do is I'll write half of it. Like if I have 4 jokes, all of those 4 will be half written. Just 50%, and the other 50% I have concept ideas. And as I'm on stage, I'm figuring out what to do and where to go with it, because I have this subconscious stress or subconscious motivation that I have to make him laugh. Even if it's an open mic, it's like, now I have to make him laugh. I have to, because I'm not very big yet, but I'm big enough to always have like 1 or 2 people there who I met at a show and they wanted to see me again, and I don't want to do the same things in front of them. So I have this like, I have to make him laugh. I have to make him laugh. And then I'll start telling a joke, and then I'll say, and then this happened. Oh, you're laughing? Okay, that's part of the joke now. And then this happened. Oh, that worked too. Okay, now we have a proper joke. Next one. And work it out on stage as I'm going.
That would be my next question. If you improvise a lot, how much of your show is improvised?
My hour show, my solo shows are fully written. This is how they get written. Like I'm just writing half at home, half on stage, and when I have a proper joke and I can put like an hour together, that's a solo. And so far I have like two and a half of these.
Okay.
Solo shows.
Do you write them yourself, or do you have someone that looks over the show script?
I write them myself. I put everything together myself.
And do you perform it test-wise before a test audience or something like that? You have someone, most of the
open mics.
Yeah, open mics, of course, but before it even goes on stage, some Austrian comedians I was talking to, they said they would perform it in front of other comedians and other guys. They like their feedback.
Alles wunderbar.
Ein Apfelsaft gespritzt hätte ich noch gern. Soda, bitte. Apfelsaft groß mit Soda, bitte, ja. Danke. So they like to perform it in front of other comedians or experts or something like that, or just good judges. They like their comedy, but they give them some pointers where it feels a little bit too long and it feels a little bit too short or something like that. They write it down and afterwards they give them feedback. Do you have something like that?
Well, what I would usually do is I had my own show
Yeah.
And there I was hosting. And since the jokes get written, like if I have a 5-minute joke, I know that, and I try different stuff, and I was like, okay, this one's ready. And I'll put it together, and that's how I'll host. Like I'll do 20 minutes, and if it works in front of an audience, it just works. And I'll try it everywhere, and of course it gets better and better. But it's very hard to do an hour somewhere because you don't get that stage time. At an open mic, I'm already in a very privileged position at open mics because they know me that I've been doing this and I live from this, and I'm one of the biggest English ones in Vienna, actually, one of 4. And I get 7 to 10 minutes at open mics, and that's the most because everybody gets like 7, you know. So I have to have my own show to be able to do as much as I want, and that's how we find out whether it works or not. There's no other way to just, hey, let me just do a quick hour in front of these people. It's very hard to do that.
What was your biggest audience yet?
Probably 500 people at the Sziget Festival in Budapest.
It was like in this circus area?
A circular, yeah.
Circular area?
Magic mirror.
Yeah.
That was
I saw that.
spectacular. The big stage with the circle, people sitting around it, that was magnificent. That was like 450, 500 people. And that feels magical.
Yeah.
Especially because 21 pilots were playing in the next tent, so I had to overpower them with the mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which you do like, you just cup it like in the top and just like speak like this a lot. That makes you sound really boomy.
Yep.
And then I said like, and then this happened. It's like ha 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 ha. And that's the and that's the ultimate thing to hear. Is like yes, yes,
Nice.
they're laughing. You know, we inhale laughter and exhale more jokes. That's how.
It's a few.
Yeah, and it's a back and forth. You go, yes, yes. Because usually I have a host and an opening act, but I can't pay 2 extra tickets and accommodation and all that, because if you're touring, obviously you want to take as much of the profit home as possible. So what I would do is I would host, I would be my opening act, take a break, and then go on stage, do 5 minutes just to warm them up again, and then do my hour.
So, can you tell me one thing of your
Absolutely.
professional secret? What is the best environment to not to be funny, but to create jokes? Is it when you sit in the train on the train, or if you just watch from your balcony what's happening on the street, or what is it?
I like walking a lot. So a lot of times I would just be walking and I have some stuff spinning in my head all the time. Or like, and what if I said this? And what if I said that? And then I just make a note and continue. And it's just like brainstorming as I'm walking through the city.
Okay.
Imagining conversations.
You're a joke machine.
Kind of, yeah. This is why I got in trouble all the time.
Okay.
Because every time they're like, Tamas, do you know the answer to this question in history? And I'm like, da 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 da. And I was somewhere, and now the whole class is laughing, and now I'd get like a bad grade or like whatever in my little book. Tamas disturbed the class once again by making stupid comments about the First World War lead-up politics discussion. I was like,
What are your interests? What is your favorite topic to talk about? Is it science? Is it nature? Is it history? Is it people?
it's people. I'm a very, and I wouldn't say I'm kind of an observational comic. I like talking about what people do, and I've noticed I have a knack for noticing things that other people wouldn't. You know, I'm like a storyteller kind of guy. So what I usually do is I observe something. For example, recently, or how men try to pick up women, or something like that, and make a story out of like I explain what happens, and I kind of make fun of those guys who are bad at it, and then build that into a story, and make the story around them sucking at something.
What's the point for you of doing this, actually? So, are you trying to make people laugh? Are you trying to make them feel more comfortable? Trying to open the horizon? Trying to make them hungry? No pun intended.
I'm just trying to make them laugh. I love the feeling. Ever since I was a kid, I love the feeling that I say something and everybody laughs. And not just like a but in the like, that's what I'm going for. When I have videos of myself, and this is going to sound horribly arrogant, but when I have videos and I can hear a joke working, and I can hear the whole audience laughing on the recording, and there's like certain sounds are like, and they're losing it, like they're not just having a laugh, but they're actually like tearing up. I can listen to that over and over and over. I always love that, like when I'm listening to podcasts, like when Joe Rogan, I love listening to Joe Rogan, of course, but when he has time, when they're just, they're laughing. He has comedians on, and Bill Burr would say stuff, and Joe Rogan is actually laughing so hard that he's crying. I will reverse that. So just to hear the laugh, or just to hear like actually losing it, watching something, tearing up, and he's trying to talk, but he can't, and that's what I'm going for. I don't want to be political or racial or cultural, like whatever I find funny, I'll make jokes about it. And that's my whole thing. That's the addiction part, is like, yes, I'm gonna make you laugh no matter what happens. I notice it in private spheres as well, like if I'm meeting new people and we're sitting, I'll like just throw some jokes, testing the waters. Because he laughed at that one, okay, so these kind of jokes, and then I'll try to do that, I don't know, subconsciously.
How do you avoid being annoying in a group of people, or is it, in your case, not? Is it not a problem?
Well, I mean, I'm guessing some people will just find me annoying eventually. But I don't always, like, I don't have this urge to be immediately the center of attention.
Okay.
You know? Like, I'm not just meet a group of people and then I run in the middle. It's like, everybody look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm telling jokes.
Yeah.
But I will try to like be like, hey, Evan, be normal. And with jokes, slowly just, it's like throwing a little pebble. Yes, now I broke them. And when everybody,
Okay.
And when everybody laughs, that's already kind of a way of being the center of attention.
Yeah.
And once I make them all laugh, I can say like, all right, these kind of jokes. And then I can double up. And when everybody laughs, it makes me feel good. So then the comedian in me just starts saying more stuff, and now I'm center of attention.
What is the shortest but funniest joke that comes to mind?
From me? Well, the first one that comes to mind is the one that I've gotten a lot of hate mail for from Hungarians. It's being Hungarian, living in Western Europe. Being Hungarian is something I used to be ashamed of, but now I just don't tell people.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. And
and thanks so much for having me. This has been wonderful.
I hope you get a lot of shows when this Corona madness is all over. And I hope there are enough people left to buy the tickets then.
Yes, me too. Thank you very much.
We're all going to die, but we do it in style.